Okay, sixth grade. So we're going to go ahead and go through the steps in the process of etching or scratching your design into your clay animal frame. So first things first, you should have gotten from me a slab of clay. A slab is basically a pancake, flat piece of clay. So pancake made out of clay. You should have put a little label with your name over somebody else's name. All of these names underneath are kids that I have previously taught. It makes me sad that their names go away, but your name has got to be the one that's on top. You should also see me for a needle tool. Just as a reminder, please abide by the clay contract when using this. And this is actually going to be your best friend for scratching your design into your clay. You also should have a copy of your design, okay? This is Ren's from block 7. Currently, I made an extra copy of hers. I cut it out using a scissor, okay? So basically with a scissor, I cut along the edge. Anything that pops off the frame, see how the little bird beak and the bird head and like this little tiny flowery thingy, see how they go off the edge? I basically cut around them to preserve them because that's going to come into play a little bit later on. So I cut around this. And one thing that I want you to be aware of when you are, before you even etch your design, is you are going to essentially poke little holes along your pencil lines. So anything that's pencil line, you're going to poke little tiny holes. The holes are not supposed to be poked very deep into the clay. If you poke them kind of deep, I'll show you what it looks like, but it's going to create structural unsoundness in the mud, not good. And you do want to put them close together because later on you're going to basically be playing a big game of connect the dots, okay? I want to share with you one more time this one from last school year. So see how we have some things on here that are three-dimensional that pop forward, okay? In just a second, I'm gonna show you or share with you what I think will work best for that. Basically, anything that goes off the side of the frame or into the frame itself is gonna be cut out of an additional piece of clay, whether it's personal clay or community clay, that's yet to be determined. Anything that just occurs in the frame itself is going to be something that's not three-dimensional, okay? So if we look at this design here, and I'm going to grab a yellow marker, you don't have to do this along with me. Which of these things would become 3D in clay? So anything that pops into the center or off the side. Probably this bird here, okay? So this bird is going to be something that pops off the frame, okay? He is gonna be 3D, right? Okay, what about anything else? Is this gonna be 3D? Nah, that can actually be just scratched into the surface and we'll leave it flat. What about this? Does this pop out of the frame or into the frame? Absolutely, okay? So this little flowery thingy would be something, okay? That's gonna be something that I end up cutting out of a different piece of clay. Also, this whole area with a bird and like this really cool branch thing, that is all going to be something, it's all going to be something that is 3D, okay? What about the leaves over here? So the leaves, sorry guys. What about the leaves over here? That's something that just occurs on the frame, so no worries about that, okay? So that'll be something that's just etched into the frame itself. This flower here is going to be etched into the frame. It's not necessarily going to be three-dimensional, okay? So the next part of my process is I'm going to go ahead and put this on top of my clay, okay? I'm going to go ahead and leave my piece of personal clay in the center just for structural stability while I'm poking. Later on, we would poke this out, okay? Pop it out like a little fruit roll-up piece, and I would probably trace one of these smaller animals on it, okay? When you are poking or etching your clay, a couple things are important. First things first, this is not going to be exact. Myself or 8th graders, you know, hacked this out of clay. So if yours is too big or too small, just center it as best you can and deal with it, okay? So the areas, this thing here is just going to be on the frame. This is going to be on the frame. This is going to be on the frame, okay? What I have to do is, with my needle tool, I'm going to go ahead and just poke little tiny surface things, okay? So little tiny surface holes. if I poke too deep like this, okay, see how that hole is so much thicker and so much bigger? That's actually creating structural unsoundness, all right, within your clay. So keep this just to the surface. Do little tiny, tiny, tiny holes just in the surface, okay? Anything that's pencil line, you're gonna poke it. I'm gonna do this kind of quickly because I'm running out of time. La, 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 la. So I'm gonna poke this on the pencil lines, okay? Okay, so poking this on the pencil lines like so. And once you have all your areas poked, now I just poked this one like little flowery thingy. Once I poke things that look like this, things that look like this, things that look like this, okay? What I would do is once that's all poked, I'm gonna peel this up and let me show you what it looks like. First of all, see how it's sticking to the clay a little bit? That's gonna happen. All right, I have something that looks like this, all right, and you're like, oh my gosh, what on earth is that? Well, it's actually this flower right here, right? So I'm gonna use my copy of my piece of paper to essentially trace those lines and connect the dots. Okay, so it's gonna start to look, hopefully, sort of like the flower. And the goal with the scratching, again, you're just keeping it right to the surface. You're just keeping it right to the surface. You're not pressing all the way through. This is what it looks like if you press all the way through. Look how deep that line is, okay? That creates something that's gonna look like this right here. See how it wants to pull away? It creates like a little wiggly area. Just keep your scratching right to the surface, okay? If your paper wants to stick to it, it's gonna happen, okay? Use your drawing. Use your drawing to help you connect the dots because it is hard, but it's the best way to transfer our design onto here, okay? Once you have all of your dots connected, you've kept it surface level scratches, okay? You're gonna actually go back and color your design and choose glaze colors. Good luck.